Hi, I'm Krystle. I've loved dolls my whole life. I collect everything from porcelain to cloth, American Girl, neonates, and real care dolls. But my favorite is to collect and make reborn dolls. There's Chloe, Grace, Jeremy, Maya, Yuki, Savannah, Zoe, Haley, Landon, Maisie, and Joshua. It isn't easy keeping up with my collection, but it sure is a lot of fun. Hi guys, I'm here to do a requested video. I think I've had a few people request this video over the last couple of years, so I finally decided I'm going to do this video. So a lot of people have asked me how to get up the courage to take their dolls out in public. Can they give any tips on how to go about it? So the first thing I want to say is that there isn't a rule that if you collect reborn dolls that you have to take them out in public. If it is not something that you are comfortable with, then you don't have to do it. However, I do know that there's some people who do want to do it but are nervous about doing it and taking their reborns out in public, and that's understandable. I'm going to share with you a little story first. So I first started collecting dolls as an adult, and I started off with my electronic neonate, and I think I was around 20, maybe 21, around 20, 21 at the time. I still lived at home with my mom. I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. And, you know, my mom at that time in my life was not supportive of me having the dolls. She was like, what the heck did you want to buy that for? And then when I was wanting to take it out in public, obviously not with her because she wasn't supportive, but I would do it either by myself when I would go for a walk or with my friend Denise, who also got a neonate around that time. And my mom would be like, why do you want to take that out? Why do you want people to think that you're like a young, unwed mom and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, it's not that. It's just like at the time, like my electronic neonate literally arrived the same day that all my medical issues had begun, or like the day after they had begun. And to have that doll during that whole year that I was dealing with the hives and all that stuff, that doll gave me a distraction. So like when I was like itching and wanting to like rip my skin off and my skin was burning, I would go and change my electronic neonate and hold her and watch TV while holding her, and like it would, even if it was just for a brief moment, it would distract me a little bit from my symptoms and really, really help me. And so I wanted to be able to take my baby out with me in public. Now, from the time I was young, I lack self-confidence. I lack self-esteem. And a part of me growing up did care what others think. And I still, to a certain extent, struggle with that. I'm getting better at not giving a crap at what people think as I get older. But when I was younger, I did care a lot. And so I really like was wrestling with myself at the time of like, I really want to do this, but if I do this, people are going to think this about me, and maybe I shouldn't do it. And then it's like, but then I don't want to like discount my own joy at the expense of someone else. It's like, I'm not harming anyone. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not drinking. Like, this is not harming me or anyone. If this genuinely makes me happy, then I am going to do it. And I was, you know, I was kind of always like that. Like, even as a child, like, even though I was like relentlessly bullied every single day I went to school because I was imaginative and because I liked to spend my recess singing or acting out scenes from shows or playing with my imaginary friend. And that was part of the reasoning that I got bullied. I got made fun of. As much as it hurt to be bullied, even from a young age, like, I never let it stop me from doing what I enjoyed. And so every day I knew I was going to get bullied, but I still kept on pretending, using my imagination, singing, having my imaginary friend, because let's face it, I didn't have really any friends. Everyone would bully me. And yeah, like, you know, I could have very well just stopped doing all of that in hopes that they would stop bullying me. But despite how crappy they made me feel, I still persisted and still continued to do what I love. And I've always been that way. And so, you know, it is a struggle sometimes. You know, there are times where I think maybe I should just not bother if people are going to think a certain way, or if I'm going to be made fun of, or if I'm going to be bullied. But then that lets the bullies win. It lets them win if you let it take away your joy. So I guess I've always been, I wouldn't say tough-skinned, because I'm sort of like in between. I am a very deeply feeling person. I'm a very emotional person, and I do take a lot of things to heart. And so I have had my moments where I've cried, you know, like, I would literally come home crying every day from school, saying I hated school, I didn't want to go to school, but I still never stopped being me because of it. And I think that's just something that you personally have to come to terms with yourself, is that, and I think the older you get and the more life experience you get, you start to not care as much. You know, like, I'm 37 years old, and honestly, the older I get, and my grandma's always told me this, and, you know, like, my grandma now, she's in her 80s. She doesn't give a crap what anyone thinks. She speaks her mind on anything. Sometimes she can be really blunt, and sometimes it can be a little mean, but, or come across as mean to some people. But she is at a stage in her life where she's like, I don't care anymore what people think. I am going to speak my mind. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but I'm going to speak my mind. And she is herself. And I feel that with each passing year, I get a little bit more like that too. And I don't care as much as of what people think. Now, I am going to say, obviously, it is difficult if you don't have family members that support you. Now, Alex, at the beginning of our relationship, he would let me take babies out with him because he was trying to be supportive of me. After we were married a couple of years, he came clean to me and told me that he personally himself is not comfortable with taking a baby out in public with him. He's totally fine with me doing it on my own or doing it with my friends. He doesn't care. He's like, do what you want if it makes you happy. He just personally isn't comfortable with, like, the attention it brings, because he's a very shy person and he's very much an introvert. So for him, it's like, he doesn't like having you know, the attention that it brings. Because, you know, when I go out in public with my babies, I really like to get reactions. I'm not searching them out. If they happen, they happen. If they don't, they don't. But I definitely, you know, like if I do get someone coming up and asking, you know, how old is your baby or whatever, and then I am very open to telling them it's a doll, and because I very much want to be an advocate for the hobby, and I want to educate people on reborn dolls and the various reasons why people have them. And so you have to make up your mind, like, do you want to take your baby out just for you to have your baby with you? Are you okay with getting reactions or not? So these are questions you need to ask before you decide to take your baby out. Just and put yourself into various scenarios, like how would you handle if someone said something negative? How would you handle it if someone said something positive? And I'm going to tell you guys, the years that I've been taking my babies out, I think I have only received maybe 3 negative responses in all the years I've been doing this. All the other responses have been completely positive and wonderful. So just, you know, and I feel like the positive, you get more positive reactions if you yourself are positive. Because when I first started taking my electronic neonate out by myself, I was very, very nervous about it. Very nervous at the beginning. It was not an easy thing for me to do. And I did not have a stroller or anything like that. I did go and buy a carrier to strap on me to make it easier. But I remember the first time I ventured out onto a bus and a subway over to Scarborough Town Center. And I went one evening when my mom was staying at my grandmother's for the weekend. And I was so nervous the whole time. I felt like everyone was staring at me. Even though I had her all bundled up and I had a blanket over her, and anyone walking by would most likely think I had a real baby in there because you couldn't even see her face really. But I just felt like everyone knew it was a doll and everyone was staring at me. And I feel like the look on my face from feeling so nervous drew more attention to me than the doll itself. People were probably wondering, like, what's up with this girl? Why is she looking all nervous like this? What's going on? She seems suspicious. And so then I get to the mall and I decided to do some shopping at the dollar store, and I'm putting things like in the cart, and I wasn't holding the carrier realistically at all. And it was so obvious I had a doll. And then, like, everyone, I felt like, again, everyone was looking at me, and I was acting very nervous. And then I was like, you know, just trying not to make eye contact with people, and, you know, just putting my stuff on the counter and trying not to look at the cashier. I didn't want to answer any questions. I was very, very nervous, and I felt horrible the entire outing, and felt like everyone was judging me, and but really and truly, I think, like, I was attracting that energy because I was putting a nervous energy out. So I've come to learn over the years that how you portray it is what you get back. So I just go out now and I don't even think twice about it, especially if I'm with other doll friends that also have their babies with them and we take them out together. That really, really helps. But even now, I have done it by myself, and again, I don't think anything of it. I will just go for a walk around the block with a baby in a stroller, and I don't really care. Like, I'm not trying to hide them. I'm not, you know, I just go out like it's the most normal thing in the world. And if someone, you know, comes up to me, I'm friendly, I'm open, and I answer any of their questions positively. And, you know, I make sure to like say that it's an art. They're all handmade. They're weighted to feel like real babies. You know, and I always explain my reasoning for having them first. I don't automatically go into, well, people have them because they can't have kids, or people have them for anxiety, stress, depression, whatever. I go with why I personally have them first and foremost, and I explain that I collect, I make them, and I just enjoy bringing them out with me sometimes just for fun. And they're usually okay with that. And then if they ask any more about it, like sometimes they will ask, like, do some people have them for this reason or that reason? Then I will explain further into why, the various reasons why other people have them. So I feel like that's the first tip I can give you, is to be confident and don't be nervous. Now, if you are going to be nervous, you can do this in baby steps. So what I would suggest is just sitting outside with your reborn. You know, if you're in a house, sit outside in your backyard with them for a bit. Or if you're in a building and you have a balcony, sit outside on the balcony. And then take that into, if you get a stroller, or if you don't have space for a stroller, get a carrier. This is my absolute favorite carrier. It's the Infantino Up Close, and it is like t-shirt material. It's super comfortable, and it really works well with the reborn dolls, I find. They sit in there really comfortably. It's easy to put on. It's comfortable to wear. It's lightweight. It's not heavy. It doesn't make you sweat. I personally really, really love the Infantino carrier. And it's called the Up Close, I believe. Because I think when I originally bought it, it was called the Unison. And then they changed the name to Up Close. So you could look for either one, the Unison or the Up Close. Or get yourself a stroller. You can get a car seat with a snap and go, or you can get a travel system, or you can just get an umbrella stroller, whichever you feel comfortable with. And just try taking a short walk on your street or around your block and see how that goes. And once you start feeling comfortable with that, then you can try things like going to the mall and stuff. Now, if you're not really interested in doing outings with your baby and you're not really comfortable with it and you don't really have support to do it, that is totally fine. Like I said, there's no rule that says you have to take your reborns out. It is only if you personally really want to do it that you should do it. Don't force yourself to do it if you don't like it, if it's not your thing. Now, but if you're wanting to, say, take your baby to a relative's to show to your relatives, or if you're getting together with some doll people at someone else's home, or if you're going to a doll show and you don't want to invest in the car seat and stroller and all that because you're not really into doing outings per se, then you can get a doll bag, which I have done a video specifically on this doll bag. I'll link it in the iCard as well as the description below so that you can go and see my whole review on the doll bag. And I believe I mention who makes them and how to purchase them there. These are made by Susan Gibbs of Dizon Designs. And this is one of her older style bags. She has newer ones now that are a bit more sturdy and have more pockets. But these bags are great. You can put your doll in there and then close it up and no one will see that you have a doll in there. And it's a nice quilted padding inside, and you can even roll it down and turn it into a bassinet. And so these are a great way to transport your baby if you're just, driving in the car and you're planning to go visit someone and you want to bring your baby with you and you don't have a car seat or a stroller or that. Or I have seen some people that have taken their babies to the mall in a doll bag because they don't want people to see that they have a doll with them, but they just want to know that they have their baby close by with them. This is another great way to do it so that no one will see the baby. But if you are a little more brave, like I said, if you don't have the space or the funds to get a car seat, stroller combo or whatever, like I said, the Infantino up close or whatever carrier you choose, just any kind of baby carrier, you can wear your baby on you. And if you are afraid, if you are not comfortable yet of people seeing your baby in the carrier, you can just get a muslin blanket and drape it over the back of the carrier so that your baby's head is covered, and it'll be privacy and no one will be any the wiser. They'll just think you have a real baby in there. And then if you do want to go the car seat and stroller route, I've got Maisie here in her car seat to show you. So I got this from carseatcanopy.com, this whole set, and it came with this. But you can just order the cover by itself, and you can actually, I think they still have the promotion going on where you could get a car seat canopy for free. They sell either these kind or these kind. So basically, this is another way that you can take your baby out and have privacy. If you're not comfortable with people seeing in and seeing your baby, then what you can do, actually I'll have to put this back for a minute. So the way this works is you are going to, one side drapes here. Sorry, Maisie. Usually you wouldn't do this while the baby's in there. And it just straps around the handle. And then your baby is covered like that, and no one can see in, and you can still have your baby with you. If you just want to take your baby out and have them with you and be able to like push a stroller around the mall, and it's great to honestly, it's the best part of having a stroller at the mall is having that basket underneath, so when you buy stuff you can just cram it all under the stroller. Like, that's one of the main reasons I absolutely love my Snap and Go, because it has such a large basket underneath. And honestly, like, that's my main excuse to take a baby to the mall with me, is so I can use that stroller to just like load up my stuff and not have to carry it all. But yeah, you can get the feel of being a mommy and pushing your stroller around if that's what you're aiming at, but you have the privacy. So if you're still new at it and it's your first time taking your baby out to the mall and you're not feeling comfortable about people seeing her, you don't want them to realize it's a doll, then you can cover them. And then, you know what, as time goes on, you will get more comfortable and you will get more brave, and then you can simply flip this up and have it like that. And now she's back, she's still sort of in there and shaded. So people, again, they probably won't really realize that it's not a real baby. Now, if you want to get really brave, which I'm kind of at that point now, where you're gonna put the whole thing back and have her completely exposed, then that's fine too. Just be ready for questions. Now, I will say closed-eyed reborns probably get less attention because they look more realistic. They just look like a baby sleeping in a stroller, and a lot of people don't even bat an eye. The open eyes, a lot of people do think Maisie's real at first glance, but a lot of times, like, say they're behind me in line and they're looking at her and they're like, oh, she's so smiley. And they'll realize eventually this baby isn't blinking. And that's when they're going to realize it's not real. And you know what, though? I've sometimes had people where I tell them that the baby is not real and they still don't believe me. They still think it's a real baby, which is really funny. But yeah, so there's that option for a car seat canopy. And then the other car seat canopy works like this. I haven't, I don't think, it's been a while since I've tried it, so I hope I still remember how to do it. Another thing you can do if you don't want to buy a car seat canopy, you can just use a muslin blanket and just drape it. You can just drape it over like that. You'd probably want to fold it up a bit so it doesn't drag, but you can use that as well. The other thing, I'm not sure how this goes on here. It's been a while since I've done this. Bear with me. So this is another kind of car seat canopy. And I'm trying to remember how this goes. I think it goes like this. So you slip the hole through the handle. This goes down here and this goes to the back like this. So see, so again, it's another way to have a sunshade for one and some privacy, so no one will see your baby in there. So yeah, so I think that's really all I can say. Of course, the other thing would be, I definitely recommend, if you can, find other Reborn collectors in your area. It's always much more fun taking the babies out when you have other people doing it too. First off, it's more fun. It puts you more at ease. I found I really didn't start getting comfortable taking babies out by myself until I had done a few outings with friends. So I went to Minnesota for a meetup in 2007. And that really helped give me some confidence, because it was like for an entire weekend, all of us were taking the babies out together, and it really gave me confidence. And I'll say that that definitely helps. And, you know, my favorite thing now, like for the most part now, I do prefer to take my babies out with other doll friends. Not so much for comfort wise, because I am comfortable taking babies out by myself now. I've done it many times since then, but it's just more fun that way. And I'm gonna do a separate video with tips on how to try to find other collectors in your area. But a really good place to start is if you can find like a local doll show, or even just like go on Facebook and try to find Reborn doll groups. There's tons of them on Facebook, and you can join them and just see if you happen to find people in there that live in your area and are interested in organizing a meetup together. That's lots of fun. But I'll get more into that in another video that's going to be talking about trying to find other collectors to hang out with. That's going to be coming up in the next video. But I hope you found these tips helpful. And really, like, I just want to leave you with this final thought. Like, it's hard when you don't have support from family. But even if you don't have support, if it's something that you really, truly want to do, and it's something that really, truly brings you joy and fun to take your baby out, then just do it. The way I look at it is, the majority of the time when you go out, it's very rare, if ever, that you are going to run into anyone that you know. For the most part, it's all people you've never met and will probably never meet again. So what does it matter what they think? Like, they're not in your life. They don't know you personally. They're never going to see you again. You're never going to see them again. So who cares? Just if it brings you joy and you enjoy doing it, then do it. And you know, I know it's harder when you, like I said, when you don't have support from family, but again, it's your life. You only live once. Do what brings you joy. As long as it isn't harming you or harming people around you, which taking a doll out is not harming anyone at all. So if it personally brings you joy and fulfillment in your life, then do it. And the same goes for anything. As long as it isn't harmful to you or others, do what you love, because you only live once. And make the most of this life that you have and do what brings you joy and what makes you at peace. So that's my final thought on that. I hope you found these tips helpful. I will link to the car seat canopy website in the description below. And I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh, and I'll also link to that video about the doll bag so that you guys can watch that if you haven't seen it yet. It'll be in the iCard as well as the description below this video. And if I can find it, I will link to the Infantino carrier as well, because it is like my #1 recommended thing. I absolutely love that carrier, and I have tried several different carriers over the year, and this one to me is the most compact, lightweight, doesn't make you sweat, easy to use. I love it. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time. Bye.